Welcome to the Success with Jewelry podcast, where we invite you inside our conversations about business success and marketing for jewelry designers and entrepreneurs.
We're Liz and Laryssa, jewelry marketing experts with a combined 16 years of experience in jewelry marketing and proven track records in helping jewelry brands meet their goals. When you listen to or watch this podcast, you get an intimate and exclusive peek behind the curtain of all the things you wish you could know about earning success in this industry.
Welcome to episode 48. In this episode, Liz and I are going to help you with auditing your brand. So we're going to cover why is it important to audit your brand? How often should you do it? And what are the actual steps to doing this audit? We also want to tell you about our insider community. When you join, you'll have access to extended episodes full of tips that you can start implementing today and further resources about each topic we discuss. In the extended version of this episode, we share how to create an action plan, what to do after the audit, and how to actually track your results and progress. If you want access to this exclusive content, as well as direct access to me and Liz, sign up by visiting successwithjewelry.com. Hey, Liz, let's get into it.
When this episode comes out, Laryssa, I think we're going to be in New York together.
Oh, that's so fun to think about.
That's pretty fun to think about. So we'll already have done like the packing and like the airport stuff and like gotten there. And then on Tuesday, the 15th. So if you're listening to this when this comes out on August 14th, Tuesday the 15th, we're going to be doing a meetup, and all of the details are on our Instagram page, or shoot us a message if you happen to be in the area and want to come. We'd love to see you.
Yeah, we want as many people to come because we don't want to just show up there by ourselves.
Although we would still have fun, and we do have a few people who are definitely coming. So It's going to be fun no matter what, but we love to connect with our listeners. And if you are unable to make it, or you're, not close to New York or anything like that, we're always happy to chat with you in our community, either whether you're an insider or if you want to just join the free portion of the platform at successwithjewelry.com. Come and chat with us. We'd love to hear what's on your mind.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get into this topic.
Mm-hmm.
So what is an audit?
So an audit, I'm sighing because it's like, people just hear the word audit and they're immediately think of like the IRS or taxes or something. And they're okay, bye, I'm checking out. I don't want to listen to this. I want to give it like a more exciting name, but for now, this is the best name I have. It's just like a deep dive into the thing you're looking at. And in this case, it's your brand. And it's just a close examination. So you're looking both at like the surface level things, your intuitive observations, as well as going deeper under the layers and like looking at data and how that complements your own like gut feelings about it.
So the last couple of weeks we've been talking about branding, and now that you understand what a brand is and all of those details, this can be used as a tool to really figure out what's working in your brand and what changes you might want to make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we recommend doing this like once a year as a general guideline. But again, that can be different for every business. If there are a lot of rapid changes like happening in the marketplace, or suddenly a bunch of new competitors come in, or you're noticing that your customer preferences are changing, or even if you as a business want to like be releasing new products or kind of changing your direction, then it might be more urgent, a more urgent reason to do a brand audit.
It could also like help reaffirm your direction and reaffirm kind of the plan you're putting in place. Like I love checking in with my brand before I kind of move forward. I know a lot of designers kind of struggle with where we're at now, which is like that transition from summer to holiday and the second half of the year. So it could be good to do like maybe a mini brand audit at this point, or like check in with the bigger brand audit you did earlier in the year at this point, just to kind of make sure you're on track.
Yeah, I think that just made me think of something you had mentioned on another episode. I can't remember if it was an insider one or not, but we were talking about Twitter's rebrand and how they like missed rolling it out to some places, I think you had said. And so if you're introducing a really big change in your brand or trying something new in your marketing, it might be good to do a brand audit right after that, just to make sure, oh, I actually did this right. And it's like hitting all the marks.
Yes, that is such a great point. And so what happened with Twitter is they rebranded to X and the big announcement came. And then like a week later is when the app updated to have the new logo and the new name. I think there's still like portions of the app that haven't switched over. And that doesn't look good, in my opinion. I would plan the press release and the news to break and everything to switch over immediately. It's the way I would do it if I were their marketing director.
They should hire you.
No, thanks.
Decline.
Okay, so we talked about this a little bit, but why is an audit for your brand important?
Yeah. So, I mean, we kind of just covered that, but also if you want to know what your strengths are so you can lean into those, sometimes business owners don't even know what their strengths are. Lean into them. If you want to know where your weaknesses are, maybe there are opportunities to improve upon them, or just kind of like don't emphasize them for now, at least. If you want to know like how your audience members feel about your brand so that you can better cater to them. If you want to get more creative and strategize with future marketing efforts, but you're not sure how to approach things, that could be a good reason for it also.
And okay, so we know what a brand audit is now. We know how often we should be doing it. We know why it's important. What are the steps that we need to take? And I know you do this a lot in your business, so you're probably an expert.
Yeah, we're working on one this week that's like pretty intense. So I
I've
do
heard
have,
nothing but good things about designers working with Laryssa on brand audits.
I go deep.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no like one way to do it, but I could tell you what has worked for us and what's been the most successful is like a lot of different facets. First, we start with just the visual brand identity, which is something we've talked about like on the past 2 episodes. So every single place where the brand is talking to customers, being in front of customers, is the visual look of the brand aligned? Same color, same font, same like mood of the photos. Just yeah, the visual alignment. And then not just the visual, but the storytelling. So what is the voice, the language, the actual like tone and the words being used everywhere? Email, website, social. 99% of the time there's some kind of like disconnect or difference where it does not sound like the same business talking, and we need to find where those things are, not just like to be picky and to fix little errors, but because that practice brings up questions without a doubt. It's like, oh, I didn't know I was talking this way here and this way here. How do I want to be talking? What changes can we make? So it always kind of like brings stuff up. Also drilling down into the different marketing platforms. So like on social, is there alignment between like Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, TikTok, whatever platforms? In email, do the campaigns like look like each other? Do they look like they're coming from the same business? The most common misalignment that I see with email is in the welcome flow or welcome email, because like what happens, everyone's embarrassed about this, but I'm just like, I literally see this all the time. They set up a welcome email like 5 years ago and they never look at it again. So it's like completely different from everything else they're putting out. And that's super important because that's a first impression that you're making with customers, and welcome emails can potentially convert really well. So if you are not putting your best foot forward, you're missing huge opportunities there. Do you have any thoughts about those things?
Yes, check your automations. This has come up for me recently. To check your automations. Also check your mobile website. That's one I feel like a lot of people miss or forget to check in with. Like maybe you make some tweaks to your website, your desktop, and you don't double check on mobile to make sure everything's working. So definitely check those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one element that I do include in brand audits that I think people are surprised to see is the customer experience. So like me and my team will like pretend that we're shopping, checking out, well, not like buying stuff, but like pretending to check out, pretending to browse. What would it be like if I saw something on Instagram and I tried to find it on the website? Where am I frustrated? Like, etc. Because if that experience isn't easy or fun, that is going to be how the customer thinks about your brand. They're going to see you as like a frustrating, unprofessional brand. So that plays a huge role in it also. And then looking at the data, I think that's the part that's the hardest for if you're DIYing this, because you don't always know what data is the relevant data, but it's mostly metrics related to brand awareness. So like website traffic, are new people coming to your website? How are they finding you? Like when they first find you, are people engaging with you? Are you getting like new followers, etc.? So mostly around generating awareness and interest in your brand.
Yeah, I think that data is tough for people who aren't like super numbers people to figure out necessarily. But that's why I'm such an advocate for like reporting and like getting the numbers written down somewhere, because then you could like make charts and kind of see comparatively, because then I find it easier to look at.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah.
And then so something else you can do is survey your customers.
Yeah. If you have good relationships with your customers, or even if you want to try to offer them some kind of like incentive to give you feedback, it's important to hear how they describe your brand in their own words. Because if you're trying to be like classic and timeless and catering to like professionals or something, and a customer is telling you they think you're like rebellious and innovative and for like the adventurer, well, like, okay, we have a problem here.
Right, there's a disconnect.
Yeah, so that's what you're ultimately trying to find, is those disconnects.
And another thing that I think is challenging for designers is reviewing their competitors, but that's a part of this as well.
Yeah, because one, it helps you, everyone's going to have strengths and they're going to have weaknesses. But the goal of this is to leverage your strengths and to either downplay your weaknesses or to work over time on making them better. And when you can see what your competitors are strong at or struggling with, you can almost like position yourself a little bit better, or even get ideas and inspiration from them as well.
Any tips for choosing which competitors to pay attention to? Because I find that designers sometimes fixate on the wrong competitor, or just struggle to choose them in general.
Yeah, this is very difficult. Maybe like a good piece of advice is, if you're fixated on one brand as a competitor, try to see your own blind spot. Because like usually I find that that means you're not actually looking at other possible competitors. One other thing I see is like they're so fixated on this one competitor that they try to emulate their marketing in every single way without thinking about, is that actually good marketing? And is this actually right for me? And a lot of times, no to both of those questions.
Right. So true. And I love also like really understanding, obviously, really understanding your audience and looking outside of the industry to brands that might be talking to your same audience, and then kind of seeing what competitors kind of fit in there.
Mhm,
Or, maybe there it's a retail store that carries several different brands, yours included, maybe looking at some of the other brands in that store.
mhm.
Um, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to kind of think about it. But what you don't want to do with exercise is like fixate on a specific brand, in my opinion. It's just like have your competitors, look at what they're doing to gain industry benchmarks, but don't like, obsess over their marketing and copy what they're doing.
Yeah, I've had clients like forward me email campaigns from the competitors they're like super fixated on, and I'm like, this is terrible.
Like,
We're not doing this.
or this doesn't make sense for what your brand is,
Yeah.
or maybe it's like they're looking at a brand that's bigger than them or has more resources, and it's just
Yeah.
something that they can't do within their budget.
Exactly. Yeah.
So after you do all of this stuff, you don't want to just have done your brand audit. You want to also analyze your findings.
Definitely. I mean, that gathering all this information is one thing, then deciding on the high priority items, figuring that out, reviewing the information, putting a plan in place. That's what's going to make this work ultimately. So, in the bonus episode, we talk about how to actually put together that action plan and to prioritize and to put the steps that you'll need to get to where you need to be. So, we want to know, have you ever audited your brand? Let us know. You can visit successwithjewelry.com to sign up for the extended episode as well as exclusive content. Thanks so much for listening.